Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started with focusing on just fixed assets today. So now from my role center, I'm gonna click on my magnifying glass and then I'm going to search for fixed assets. So today we're going on about we're going to talk about how to create one. Of course, you need to go to the fixed asset page first. Once you create one, then you can put it on the purchase invoice where you purchase it from, your vendor. And then, we'll walk through how to depreciate a fixed asset and then dispose of a fixed asset in Business Central. So let's walk through that real quick. So, like I said, you do have to create a fixed asset first before you put it on any transaction like a purchase invoice. So let's go ahead and click plus new up here in the ribbon. Okay, I'm gonna close this little fact box here by clicking on this little I. Excuse me. Okay, now, um, this is the fixed asset card. I'm gonna go ahead and click show more on the right side. This is what it looks like. I just need you guys to be aware of that. But there are a few things that I need to set up first, okay? So I'm gonna first of all navigate then to my fixed asset setup page so that way we can see what that looks like. I mean, not really need to do a lot on there, but it doesn't hurt to just show you what that looks like. Fixed assets setup, pull that up. Okay, so there it is. Now we do have let me zoom out a bit because this is too, there you go. Hopefully it's not too tiny for you, but this is our fixed asset setup page. We already have our default depreciation book as company. We really don't need to do much here, to be honest, but you just want to make sure you're selecting company as your default depreciation book. If you want to create your own from scratch, you're welcome to, but this is just a setup that I already have that Microsoft, put together for this Business Central instance. So if I look into that company book depreciation code that I just, I'm pulling up, this is the default setup. It has a code name, it has a description. Like I said, I don't really need to change anything here. If let's say you're like, okay, I need to allow correction on disposal, then you turn this toggle on. If you're like, I need to, have a complete 365 days fiscal year, I need to turn this on, okay? But right now, Business Central does calculate depreciation, you know, using 360 days. Okay, so right now, if you need it to be exactly 365, then you check this box, this toggle. And then down here, integration. This is to tell me that whenever I post a transaction for my fixed assets, I need it to also show up in my GL. Okay, that's why all those toggles are turned on. If let's say you're bringing in fixed assets open, beginning balance, and you don't want it affecting your GL because you already brought in your GL history beforehand, then of course that's when you would turn off the acquisition toggle and of course the depreciation toggle because you're trying to bring in just a beginning balance for those two. Okay. So right now I'm going to leave them on because I need whatever posting I'm doing to also affect my GL. And that's about it, with this page. I really don't need to make any changes. You can, play around with the ribbons up here and look at, if let's say you want to copy this depreciation book and play around here, you're welcome to do that. And of course, one thing I do want to point out is you do have to assign your user to the journals. And I say that because, if you don't, it will not let you, do some functionality with the fixed asset. So, of course, you want to make sure you go to the FA journal setup and then maybe, put your name here. I don't think that's my user. I think my user is this. Okay. So now you go ahead and select your user. You put it here with all the other template name and batch name. These are all default from Business Central. So of course you just want to leave it as is. Unless you create something separate and you want to, specify it here, you can do that. This is your fixed asset journal template and your batch. And then this is your general journal template and your general batch. And if you're doing insurance, the same thing, insurance journal template and the batch. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go back to that setup page. Now, of course, if let's say you wanted to restrict allow posting from and allow posting to, date range, meaning if let's say I put October 1st in this field and I put allow posting to October 31st, this means everybody in the system, in the system in Business Central can only post fixed asset transaction within the month of October. Okay, so let me take that out so that way I'm not restricted in the future. Okay, and then lastly is just the numbering right here. You want to make sure you select your fixed asset number series so that when you're creating a new fixed asset, it knows to use, whatever number series that's assigned. So if I click select from full list, I would see that it's, the fixed asset numbering. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and click edit list because I want to make sure I have it, the manual number checked so that way I have the flexibility of creating a number series for my fixed asset if I need to in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then let's go back to our fixed assets. Let's go create a new one like I intended to. So plus new. Okay. And I might need to refresh my page because I need to see the number and O. Okay, so let's create a new one. There it is. So there's that number. So of course, if I click into it and tab off, it's going to automatically generate with the first number in line. Okay. And if I need to change it, I can do that. That's why I did check that manual box. Okay. So I'm going to call this, I don't know, HP laptop, for example. Yeah, HP laptop. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the fixed asset class code and subclass code. So this is how you can categorize your fixed asset, especially for reporting purposes. Now I just realized we might only be able to just talk about the fixed asset and maybe the purchase inside of it today, but we'll talk about the other aspect of fixed asset like depreciation and disposal in later sessions. Okay, so fixed asset class code. This is, like I said, how you can categorize your fixed assets. So if I click select from full list, I know I've been doing select from full list, but literally you can search for those pages also. So for fixed asset class code, I'm just going to go ahead and search for it so you can see what that looks like. FA class code. Okay, so FA classes. So those are the three options we literally just saw. Okay, so all you have to do is just come in here. You can create a new one. You can delete it. You can change it as you need to. Okay, it's all editable. Okay, so that's your fixed asset classes. And then the subclass, let me go ahead and Google. Let me go ahead and search for that. So FA subclass. So if I pull that up, I would see all my options here. Okay. Now, the subclass really does link everything together, meaning it pulls the class code together and, of course, the posting group together. The idea behind the posting group, the concept behind it is whenever you post a transaction using equipment, for example, whatever GL account is associated with equipment will be what the transactions will be posted to. Okay, so for example, I did say equipment. So if I pull this drop down here and I look at equipment, those are all the GL account associated with just equipment. And I do see that it's actually all the same, but my point is posting a transaction to equipment posting group will go to 10800 for acquisition, accumulation, acquisition cost and disposal, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's click OK. So like I was saying, the FA subclass brings together the class code and the default, posting group. So whenever I select an FA subclass on my fixed asset, it will automatically fill in that posting group for me. So subclass, in this case, just to make it a lot easier on yourself, I would just give it the same name all through. So the same code name here, the same posting group name, so that way it makes complete sense. Okay, so equipment, furnitures, and then of course you would put a class code if it's tangible or intangible. If it's a financial type of class, you would select that here. So tangible in this case, and then the default posting group. Default posting group, you literally can search for it also just to make sure that's set up just by searching for FA posting group. So if you go to the FA posting group, these are all your accounts. You can come in here and change it. If let's say you know for sure Goodwill is supposed to go to a different, GL accounts, you will select that here. Now GL accounts, another level to that. If you click select from full list, this is coming from your GL account list, also known as your chart of accounts. Okay. So let's go ahead and click cancel and click the back arrow. So this page is completely set up. You can come in here, you can add a new one, you can delete some if you don't need to, you can change some things. That's all up to you. Okay, let's move on. Let me go ahead and select my class code as tangible. Okay, and then subclass code, I'll go ahead and select equipment. So now that I've chosen my equipment, okay, if I click show more here, I would see that under depreciation, my posting group is automatically pulled in, okay, as it should. Now, of course, if you're using location codes for your fixed asset, you're welcome to set that up. You know, literally it's just locations. You just put that on here. If you have serial number, you can put that in here. If let's say your fixed asset is going to be blocked in the future or inactive, you don't want to, post transactions to it in the future, you can turn on these toggles, okay? And then acquired. Right now it's not turned on because we haven't purchased the, fixed asset. So we have to do that, okay? So let's scroll down here and fix up the depreciation book fast tab. We're done with the general fast tab. Let's move on here. Like I said, your depreciation book automatically will fill in because we did that setup earlier. Posting group will automatically fill in because I did choose the subclass code at the top. And then depreciation method, you're welcome to change it. These are the options you have. I'll just leave it as straight line just to make it, make sense. Okay, and then start end date. Let's say I purchased this, laptop at the beginning of this year. So 01/01/23, and then it would be depreciated within 5 years. So for sure, I know my HP laptop would give out on me in 5 years, so I'm going to go ahead and put 5 years here, and my, depreciation ending date automatically will populate. Okay, so now that we see that here, of course, my book value is 0 because I haven't purchased it, and I don't know if